Hey everyone, James Azar here with CyberHub Engage. We are back in the studio after a busy week in San Francisco at RSA. And thanks to your feedback, we are on Twitter rather than on YouTube, which a lot of you said you'd rather see us there. Today is Monday, March 2nd, 2020, and here are our headlines for your daily cyber briefing. U.S. jails Chinese scientists for stealing over $1 billion of trade secrets. A UK Home Office has breached GDPR over 100 times. Hackers are actively exploiting 0 days in several WordPress plugins. And a U.S. railroad contractor reports a data breach after a ransomware attack. And now for your daily cyber briefing brought to you by our friends over at GetSmartEye. And now let's get into today's story. A Chinese scientist convicted of stealing trade secrets worth $1 billion from an Oklahoma petroleum company has been jailed in the United States. Hong Jin Tan was employed by the unnamed company in June of 2017 to work in a group whose goal it was to develop the next generation battery technology for stationary energy storage. Vigilant co-workers caught the 36-year-old Chinese national and U.S. legal permanent resident stealing hundreds of files containing proprietary information specifically related to flow batteries. After being confronted with the theft, Tan admitted intentionally copying and downloading the research and development materials onto a thumb drive without authorization from his employer. Realizing the jig was up, Tan turned in the thumb drive along with his resignation in December of 2018. But when investigators examined the storage device, they found evidence that 5 documents had been stored on it had since been deleted. The missing files were later located on an external hard drive recovered during a search of Tan's premises. It transpired that Tan had swiped the files and squirreled them away at home, where they could be accessed and potentially sold at a later date. On November 12th of 2019, Tan pleaded guilty to the theft of a trade secret, unauthorized transmission of a trade secret, and unauthorized possession of a trade secret. Speaking at the time, Assistant Attorney General for National Security John C. Demers said, Tan's guilty plea continues to fill the picture of China's theft of American intellectual property. The department launched its China initiative to battle precisely the type of behavior reflected in today's plea, illegal behavior that cost Americans their jobs, and we will continue to do so. On Friday, U.S. District Judge Gregory K. Frizzle sentenced Hong Tin Tan to 24 months in federal prison and ordered him to pay $150,000 in restitution to his former employer. After completing his 2-year prison sentence, Tan will spend a further 3 years on supervised release. The sentencing of Hong Jin Tan underscores the FBI's commitment to protecting our country's industries from adversaries who attempt to steal valuable proprietary information, said Melissa Goldbold, special agent in charge of the FBI Oklahoma City field office. American companies invest heavily in advanced research and cutting-edge technology. Trade secret theft is detrimental to our national security and free market economy. It takes profit away from companies and jobs away from hard-working Americans. A job well done by the FBI and the vigilant co-workers of this Chinese national who alerted the company and authorities of his illicit activities. In another story, the UK Home Office has breached European data protection regulation at least 100 times in its handling of the EU settlement scheme, the EUSS. IDs have been lost, documents misplaced, passports have gone missing, and applicant information has been disclosed to third parties without permission in some of the cases, according to a new report. David Bolt, the independent chief inspector of borders and immigrations, said in a report conducted by the immigration watchdog that serious breaches of the EU's GDPR have been recorded by the EUSS, despite GDPR awareness training imparted to staff. The EUSS scheme is for EU, EEA, and Swiss citizens to apply for residency rights and settled status in order to continue living in the United Kingdom after June 30th, 2021. Those with indefinite leave to remain do not need to apply. According to the report, the Home Office, the overseer of the EUSS, received over 1.3 million applications by the end of August 2019. Millions more have already been approved with large volumes. However, comes mistakes, and there were 100 recorded incidents between March 30th and August 31st of last year when GDPR data protection laws have been broken by the government. The first case dates to April 7th, involved an employee who sent emails to 240 recipients without blind copy protection, leading to each address being inadvertently shared. The Home Office apologized at the time, blaming the incident on human error. 4 breaches in total took place in April 11th and were recorded in May. 24 incidents occurred in June, 32 in July, and 29 in August. Security issues include ID cards sent to wrong applicants and home addresses. A number of passports were lost. Identity documents were misplaced by both postal services and the EU SS in many cases, and applicant information was shared with third parties without consent. The independent investigator says that it's important for the Home Office to do everything it can to keep the breaches to a minimum, but the problems uncovered during the investigation should be easy enough to fix, as they generally relate to document handling errors, which can be resolved through clear instructions and good organizations. The government added that GDPR awareness training is now enforced and sessions are held regularly. We have onboarded large numbers of new staff across the department in the last 18 months, the Home Office says. All will have attended induction training. And now to another story where WordPress is by far the most widely used website building technology on the internet. And according to the most recent statistic, more than 35% of all internet websites run on versions of WordPress CMS, which stands for Content Management System. Due to its huge number of active installation, WordPress is a massive attack surface. Attempts to hack into WordPress sites are like a constant hum in the background of all internet traffic going on at any given time. Over the past few months, we have reported here on CyberHub Engage of multiple different vulnerabilities within the WordPress ecosystem. And after a busy 2019, 2020 started on a quiet note. The reason for this downtime allegedly could be because of winter holidays, which, as we've seen in previous years, often result in global slowdown in malware and hacking activities, as hackers also like to take holiday breaks. During the past 2 weeks, there's been a resurgence in attacks against WordPress site, signaling an end to the period of relative calm we've seen in December and January. Several cybersecurity firms specialized in WordPress security products have reported on an ever-increasing number of attacks on WordPress sites. All new attacks spotted last month focused on exploiting bugs in WordPress plugins rather than exploiting WordPress itself. Many of the attacks targeted recently patched plugin bugs, with the hackers hoping to hijack site administrators before site administrators had a chance to apply security patches. However, some of the attacks were also a little bit more sophisticated. Some attackers also discovered and started exploiting 0 days. Below is the summary of all the WordPress hacking campaigns that have happened in February that targeted new WordPress plugin flaws. Website administrators are advised to update all of their WordPress plugins listed, as they're very likely to be exploited all throughout this year and well beyond that. Since mid-February, a bug was found. Hackers have exploited a bug in Duplicator, a plugin that lets site administrator export the content of their site. The bug is fixed in 1.3.2 way. It allows attackers to export a copy of the site, from where they can extract database credentials and then hijack a WordPress site's underlying MySQL server. Making matters worse, Duplicator is one of the most popular plugins on the WordPress portal, with more than 1 million installs at the time that the attacks began. This is circa February 10th. Duplicator Pro, the plugin's commercial version installed on an additional 170,000 sites, was also impacted. There's also another major bug in the free and pro versions of the Profile Builder plugin. The bug can allow hackers to register unauthorized admin accounts on the WordPress sites. The bug was patched on February 10th, but attacks began on February 24th, and on the same day that the proof of concept code was published online, at least 2 hackers groups are believed to be exploiting this bug. More than 65,000 sites, 50,000 using the free version and 15,000 using the commercial versions, are vulnerable to attacks unless they update the plugin to the latest version. The same 2 groups who are exploiting the plugin that we just discussed are also believed to be to target a bug in the Theme Grill demo importer, a plugin that ships with themes sold by Theme Grill, a vendor of commercial WordPress themes. The plugin is installed on more than 200,000 sites. We've reported on this bug previously as well, and make sure to update to the version 1.6.3 as soon as possible. Attacks were also spotted targeting Theme Rex add-ons, a WordPress plugin that ships pre-installed with all the theme REX commercial themes. Per a WordFence report, attacks began on February 18th when hackers found a zero-day vulnerability in the plugin and began exploiting it to create rogue admin accounts on vulnerable sites. Despite ongoing attacks, a patch was never made available, and site administrators are advised to remove the plugin from their sites as soon as possible. Attacks also targeted sites running the flexible checkout fields for WooCommerce plugin. Installed on more than 20,000 WordPress-based e-commerce sites, hackers used a now patched zero-day vulnerability to inject XSS payloads that can be triggered in the dashboard of a logged-in administrator. The XSS payloads allowed hackers to create admin accounts on vulnerable sites. Attacks have been ongoing since last week. 3 similar zero days were also discovered in the Async JavaScript, 10 Web Map Builder for Google Maps, and Modern Events Calendar Lite plugins. These plugins are used on 100,000, 20,000, and 40,000 sites respectively. The 3 0 days were all stored XSS bugs like the one described previously. All 3 received patches, but attacks began before the patches were available, meaning some sites were most likely compromised and need to be updated immediately. And now to our final story of the day, where RailWorks Corporation, one of North America's leading railroad track and transit system providers, disclosed a ransomware attack that led to the exposure of personally identifiable information of current and former employees, their beneficiaries, and dependent, as well as that of independent contractors. RailWorks is a privately held provider of rail infrastructure solutions that builds and maintains rail transportation infrastructure across the U.S. and Canada. The company has over 3,500 employees, 45 offices in the U.S. and Canada, and is behind $3 billion worth of contracts with railroad companies, transportation agencies and department, and transit authorities. The company sent email notifications to those affected by the attack on January 30th and February 7th, following the breach that took place on Monday, January 27th of this year. According to 3 data breach notifications RailWorks filed with the California Office of the Attorney General, the attackers may have gained access to PII, including names, addresses, driver's license number, government-issued ID, social security numbers, date of birth, dates of hire/termination, and or of retirement. RailWorks says it was the victim of a sophisticated cyber attack in which an unauthorized third party encrypted its servers and systems. The method used by the attackers to deploy the malware and was used to encrypt the company's system is also unknown at the moment. RailWorks said in a statement, "We are committed to adding those who may have been impacted by this unfortunate situation. That's why we're providing you with access to free credit monitoring for 12 months through Identity Guard Total." The company strongly urges impacted employees to place a security freeze or fraud alert on their credit file for free with Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion as a measure designed to prevent credits, loans, or other financial services from being approved in their names without their approval. RailWorks also set up a dedicated call center that you can call if you're impacted by this. It's open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and the number is 1-866-977-1068. Again, that's 1-866-977-1068. This specific story shows that a ransomware attack can also have a data breach implication on an organization, and this is the first public company to go publicly and state just that. We've always known this to be kind of like a backdoor thing, but now we know it to be absolutely real. That's it for your daily cyber briefing today. Make sure to subscribe and give us 5 stars. Also, make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform. You can find us anywhere you want. You can also send us messages here on Twitter with stories or anything else you want to hear about. That's it for today. It is Monday. We look forward to seeing y'all at Data Connectors on Thursday here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia for their Atlanta Cybersecurity Conference that is brought to you guys by Data Connector. So make sure to join us there. Until Thursday and until tomorrow when we'll come back with so much more, stay cyber safe.